Hi there, it's Catherine McIntosh with Listed, and I'm very excited today to be on location in Whitby with Shawn Greer in the Remax Crossroads brokerage.
Yep.
So,
Thanks
Shawn,
for having me today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to talk to you, and it's the first time I've ever been to Whitby.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things to learn about Whitby, a lot of things that people don't know about Whitby. It's a great place. I've been here 21 years now. I've been here. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I think just a couple minutes ago, you told me that if we came out this door and turned right, we could walk to the beach in 3 minutes?
Yeah, we're right at the beach. Yeah.
Wow. If people in other congested urban centers knew that they could just live in a place that is safe and yet cozy.
2 minutes, 10 minutes from your house, you can go to the beach. You can go to your marina, get on your boat, right? Go for the day on the boat. You can take the kids to the beaches, to the playgrounds, the soccer fields. Lots to do in Whitby. Lots and lots. Very, very family orientated. Town. Yeah, very close knit. A lot of people know each other because of the kids' sports in school. They get to know each other from the kids go to school, or they play hockey together, or they swim together. They play baseball together, soccer together. So everybody kind of knows everybody here. So, and it's a very, very safe place.
Wow, that's great. So in terms of the demographics, have you seen are people moving here newly? Is it expanding? What's happening in this place?
It is, we've got all kinds of different nationalities here.
Yeah.
And just like any other city, we change just the same way as any other city. I know a lot of people who are just coming to Canada probably want to go to Toronto, right? Because it's the big city, or they want to go to Vancouver. But we have, I don't know how many new people coming out to Whitby, but it's on par with the people coming into the country. It's very, very diverse. And again, everybody seems to get along okay. And the great part about that is that now we just don't have French fries and cheeseburgers to eat. When we go out, we've got all kinds of different foods. Fantastic. East Indian, Pakistani, Portuguese, right? Aside from your typical pizza places and stuff like that, we've got all kinds of different restaurants and food. And I think per capita, we have the most restaurants and pubs than anybody else in Canada.
Wow, so there's actually a great nightlife and culture.
Great nightlife, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning before too the sports arena and that big silver dome over here.
Yeah, we've got the Ability Center over here, and that is for people with physical and mental challenges. And like I'd mentioned to you earlier, if you want a membership over there, you can get a discount or even go work out for free if you put in some time with helping out the disabled people. And you can do that. And that, it's not just a gym that's over there, and it's a huge gym. And they've got basketball courts, they've got tennis courts, badminton, they got a library in there, they got a movie theater in there, they've got conference rooms, they've got everything in there. It's a fantastic building. Yeah.
What a great way to get service-oriented community spirit by participating, being of service in terms of doing community work, and then getting the benefit of being able to use the facilities.
Yeah, and you know, a place like that also, because now in high school, you've got to do so many hours community work. So a lot of the kids will go there and do their community work there, which is great because then they're not short of staff over there.
Yeah.
You've got lots of people there to help, and it's really, really good. Really good.
That's super. And then just kind of rounding it out, I know it's actually really easy to get here too, because it's right on the GO train transit line. So straight to Union Station.
Yes. We now have, and I think it changed about 3 years ago. Instead of an hour service, it's every half hour now.
Oh,
because
fantastic.
There's so many people out here now in Durham. They just had to do something. They had to get more cars on the rails to move more people. So it's every 30 minutes. And here, there is a train that's an express. So if you get on Oshawa, Whitby, Ajax, or Pickering, then once they close the door at Pickering, it just goes straight to Union. It doesn't stop anywhere else along the way.
Wow.
So it's a quick commute.
Yep.
And they are expanding even further. They're apparently going to be going right up to Peterborough, from what I understand, with the train.
Wow. So that really takes and makes a person's ability to, say, work in Toronto and then live in a space that is closer to nature, maybe has a larger yard and other schools and amenities you might want your family to have, but access to the downtown core.
Yep. Transportation, you've got the GO train, like we just mentioned. The 401 is right here. The 412 is right here.
Right.
The 412 up to the 407 is about a 3-minute drive. So that can get you all the way down to Niagara. So we have lots of transportation access. And of course, our bus system ties into Toronto's bus system. And they have express buses running. So it's really a very unique place to live. And what I really like about it, I've been here 21 years, is that we don't have traffic jams. We don't have rush hour. You go out at any time and you can get to wherever you want to go in 5 minutes. So it's great. I like that.
That's great. Well, I know part of the reason we're here with you is because as the CEO of Listed, I want every consumer or person who needs a great real estate agent to be able to get one. And what I love is that when you saw Listed, and you get a lot of things come across your desk to consider and technologies, you loved it, you adopted it. And, I want people to meet you and see what it really means to have great representation, because that can make or break buying the right home, selling your property with ease and efficiency. So can you introduce us to you and kind of when you got started and the area you work in?
Yeah. So this will only take 2 hours. So I'm 25 years in real estate now.
Yeah.
I guess younger realtors or younger people look at us senior, older people as kind of being dinosaurs. And I know a lot of my friends that are my age, they're not tech savvy because we didn't grow up with computers. I was lucky enough to be in an industry where I was introduced to computers a long time ago, before I got into real estate even. And so I've been able to pick up and go with it along the way and learn as I've been going. And I'm open to all that because, I mean, in the 25 years that I've been in it, we've gone from, as I mentioned earlier, the monthly book with the pages in it, like the phone book with listings of houses, to using an app on our phone.
Right.
So you need to keep up with the times.
Yeah.
And you need to be as quick as everybody else.
Yeah.
And you want the same as everybody else, you want to be able to use an app so that you don't have to leave a meeting, leave the office, leave your house, leave your kid's hockey game. You get a question coming in, you can get on the app and send them some information. So the easeability of this is fantastic. It's very, very convenient. So with all the new technology coming out, I'm always, and I do get bombarded with all kinds of stuff, technical stuff, and people saying they can do this for me and they can do that for me, and I'm going to be a billionaire in a couple of months. But I look at everything that does come across my desk, and a lot of it is just smoke and mirrors, and a lot of it is just rehashed stuff from other people that I've talked to and what they want to try and do for me.
Yep.
And when I saw this app, I went through this and I thought, this is a great idea, because as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm more of a direct one-on-one marketer.
Yep.
Whereas I don't like to send out, 50,000 flyers every month, or I don't like to send out a lot of things on the internet to try and get people to, to tune into me on the internet, to be able to, get in front of all these eyeballs. For me, I'd rather you get the app. It's a great app. And then that way I can just go direct to somebody and I can give it to them. And like I mentioned earlier, I've already had a number of people look at it and they think it's great, and they send it to their relatives and their friends and they tell them about it. So, and you saw my phone earlier.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of people using that app.
So I really love this idea of your direct one-to-one communication, because what you mean by that, what I'm hearing is, instead of what sometimes just putting on general information on a social media channel.
Right.
You're actually taking the person and what they need.
Yes.
And then sending them directly what's relevant to them.
Yes. The information they want, the information that they need.
Yep.
And it's almost like a reverse monthly newsletter where you send out 30,000 monthly newsletters. You hope people look at it instead of throwing it in the garbage.
Yeah.
And then out of all the ones who are looking at it, you might get one person that might actually keep it and think, hey, maybe I'll call this guy or this girl and get them to sell our place. With this, it's almost like a reverse. So you're giving them the app, and they're actually coming back to you in the app
with what they want.
With what they want, and then they're searching. And then when they do that, they don't see any other agents in there. They see you.
Yeah.
Right? So they go, oh, Shawn's the guy. He's giving us all this information, right? So it's only a natural progression
and you're
that they're going to call you, right?
That they're going to call you.
Yes.
And benefit by that.
Yes.
Because you see what they want and you're able to enrich their experience.
Yep.
Because we talked before about what the experience is for people. And I really loved that you said, even back before sold information was even made public, by the real estate board, you always felt that information was what people wanted and should be transparent.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it still has to be translated.
Yeah.
You can have the data of what something's sold for and not know why or how it compares to your own relevant experience.
Yeah.
Unless you have someone.
It's, you get, I remember back in, I think it was 2017 in the spring, and in that market it was really, really hot because we had no listings.
Yeah.
We were down to about 6,500 listings. Usually we're at about 18,000. So houses they were flying off the shelves at a ridiculous price. And I remember going in to see a gentleman, and he wanted a certain price because he said the house about 20 doors down sold for $1 million.
Yeah.
So he figured his house was $1 million. The house down the street was a bungalow. He had a side split. There were two different houses. And by the time he got everything together and was ready to sell,
the market changed.
The market changed because in 2017, when we got to May, there was, I think, 21,000 houses now on the market because everybody jumped in and said, hey, let's get a couple of extra bucks here for our house. Let's get in there now. And what happened with him is that he waited too long. But when he put his house on the market, he still wanted that $1 million hot price.
Yeah.
Right? So with this app, if they're going onto the app and they're seeing all the information.
Yeah.
And it's almost up to the second sometimes.
Yeah.
It's quick. And they can go on and go, oh, you know what? Maybe my house isn't worth this much. Maybe it's only worth this much. Or maybe I didn't realize I can get an extra $50,000 maybe for it. They can get all the information through the app. They can get all the particulars of the house, the size of the house, the lot size, the room size, the taxes, the finished basement or not, a 1-car garage, 2-car garage.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. They can get everything. And then that educates them so that when it comes time to actually put the price on the house, which I don't do. I do it with my sellers. As a group, we decide what we're going to put it on at. Then they'll be more informed, better educated, and they'll be more comfortable putting the price on the house to sell it and knowing that it is going to sell, rather than going, you know what, let's try for this, and sitting there for a month, and then, okay, well, let's just do a price change and try this. And then it sits for another month.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's 3 months on the market and everybody's seen it and they're looking at it going, well, there's got to be something wrong with the house. So now you're not getting anything for it. Your price has gone way down. Whereas if you had the app, you looked at all the information, you got everything you needed to know about pricing your house to compare it, he would have been much, much further ahead.
Yeah, it allows you to be in step in reality with the market because timing is everything.
Yes, yeah.
And when you're helping lead your clients to the strategy that's going to best serve them, having this access to information really helps them feel comfortable that, this is where it's coming from.
This up to the second, up to the minute information is great because we've just gone through a market change again. Where about a month and a half ago, houses were going quick. And then all of a sudden now, for some reason, houses are just sitting on the market again here.
And condos are even slower.
Yeah, and it's taken longer and longer. And you think, how could it change so quick? But when you have the app, you can see how it's changing, because when you look into the area that you want to look in, you'll see the house that you saw 2 weeks ago still sitting there. You go, oh, why didn't that sell? And then you'll see another one sitting there for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you're going, oh, you know what? The market's shifting. So you've got the up-to-date information. You've got everything. It's right there in front of you. And like I said, information is what I'm all about, and I want to give that to all of my clients and everybody. And then I want them to be educated and comfortable when it comes time to buying or selling a house. And when they're educated, it makes my job easier, because I don't have to. And the hardest thing to do with people is to try and convince them that this is your price, right? Because, real estate agents, we've been in this a long time. We see this every day. This is our job.
Right.
We know what's going to happen here. You don't. You just own the house. You really don't come outside of your house and go to open houses or look and see what a house is sold for. So you're expecting something completely different. Now that I've given you all the information from the app, we can now sit down and have a better conversation, because the seller now knows, you know what? Yeah, this is where our price is. This is where we should be. And even as a buyer, they're looking going, okay, yeah, houses in this area on this street are going for this much money. So this is what it is. Yeah.
Yes, it's very interesting, because I think a lot of agents or some people in the industry were worried if we gave people too much information, they wouldn't need realtors. But the fact is, from our conversation earlier, I'm understanding that the more information you give them, the more likely they are to reach out to you and start a conversation.
Yeah, because then you're the expert, right? You know everything about everything. Right? Anything to do with real estate, you know everything. And because of the way the world is changing now, and everything is it changes so quick, people don't have time. People don't have time to sell their own house. People barely have enough time to get, little Johnny to baseball practice. They got to figure that out. So if you can give them all the information, educate them, they're comfortable, they know everything. If they could just get somebody like me to come in and take over and do it for them and get their signatures, they're way ahead of the game.
Way ahead of the game. I actually took numbers just out of interest for all the people who, the FSBOs, for sale by owners. And not only do you take all the liability, you're not seeing product and meeting people, which are the two time and attention factors that allow you to sell a house. And then of course, if you're not using an agent, the first thing the buyer thinks is, I'm going to get a deal. So they're immediately going to lower the price by 30 grand. So you've done all the work, you've not done it as well, and you're not ahead. Why not have the best real estate agent work with you and take care of it all?
Even on the selling side or on the buying side, there's still people who will, they will want to go directly to the selling agent. And I always tell them, I said, if you're in some kind of legal problem, you're in a car crash or anything, if you got to go to court, are you going to use the same lawyer as the guy who you're suing, or he's suing you? You don't do that. Right? You need your own representation. You need somebody who's going to take care of you. And, being in real estate, I don't want to say it, but it happens, I'm sure, where if somebody goes directly to the selling agent's going to know things about that house that the buyer should know, but he's not going to say anything, right? Because they just want to put the deal through and get their check. Then they're out of there. So, unfortunately, I think that does happen more often than not. If you're going to be selling or buying, you want an agent, because then you're protected. You want somebody who understands the process of buying and selling, who understands the market. and for me, I've been lucky because in my career, I've done a number of different things. So I've done roofs. Installed roofs. I sold windows. I have a plumbing license, a heating license from way back when. I've done concrete work. I've done flooring. I've done almost everything on a house.
Yeah.
So I've got that background. So when I take clients in and we're looking at the houses, even when we're going through with a home inspector, I can be there to extend what he is saying to give them more information about, well, this is going to cost you this much. With my experience, this is probably what's going to happen. Here's how long your roof is going to last, stuff like that. So again, you're getting more information. But people who want to go direct and think they're going to save money, especially with a for sale by owner, that's just insane. Because if the owner is selling directly privately, you have no idea what's going on in the drainage system, the weeping tiles, any of that stuff, the electrical. You have no idea.
And the seller themselves is putting themselves at a lot of risk because now they're representing and warranting absolutely everything about the house because they don't have a professional who has errors and omissions insurance, who's properly able to convey the details of the property to an interested buyer.
Yeah. So another good thing, Catherine, about this listed app is when you go in there and you look at a property, it'll tell you the last 3, 4, 5, 8 times that property is sold.
Right. It's got the history.
It's got the history, which is great because when you go in there and if you see a property you're interested in and you see that it's sold 6 times in the last 2 years,
there's
3 years, there's a problem there.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to stay away. And if you have an agent that is just going on MLS and then they take the printed listing with them and they go, hey, here's a great house. You guys should come and look at it and let me know what you think and we'll do an offer. Well, they go in. The agent doesn't have any experience about the house, doesn't know anything about the house.
Yeah.
Is going to go in and go, hey, yeah, we have an offer for your house. Let's get this done. My clients are going to be really, really happy.
Yeah.
Right? Not knowing, and if the agent would have looked, they would have seen the history if they searched for it and go on, hold on a second here. This house has been on the market, in the last 2 years constantly. So there's a problem here, a big problem.
Yeah, I think that things are really changing with more educated buyers and sellers now. And the ones that are more educated also realize the benefit of using an agent, especially when you are connected through technology, because then you're able to do the things that get a successful sale, move more quickly.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you point out how your clients can put a list together and they start to see how that list changes. Are things in the list being sold or is the price changing and they're staying on the market longer?
Yeah.
And then you and they speak about it and you're able to make a strategy around that.
Yeah, because you can get somebody who's looking for a certain house and say they want to pay this much and they want a family room with a fireplace. Then they start looking at the prices in the area they want to be. They'll realize when they get the information, you know what, if we want that bigger house with the family room and the fireplace, we're going to have to shell out another $50,000. We don't have that kind of money. So what it does is right then and there, they can rethink, okay, do we really need that family room? Do we need a 2-car garage or can we get away with a 1-car garage?
Yeah.
Like they'll start to change some things on their wish list in order to fit their price, to fit their budget, right? So when you get all that information on the app, they can go through all of that and they can sit down and go, you know what, yeah, we're going to have to change a couple of things, get rid of a couple of things in order to get into this neighborhood at this price.
That's really interesting. That brings up something that one of your colleagues brought up with me, which was that he actually noticed that one of the things it had done for him was collapsed the time and effort taken by both his clients and himself in terms of getting to a satisfactory result.
Yes.
So it kind of allows buyers to more quickly assess and determine what they want and the price that they can get it at.
Yeah, definitely. It makes everything go quicker.
Yeah.
And it's more of a convenience because, like I say, people are too busy. They've got 2 or 3 kids. They don't have time to drag their kids around all weekend looking at houses. So it narrows down the search.
Yeah.
You're not looking at 10 houses. You're looking at 3 houses, 4 houses. And then that way it's a much quicker process for them. And having an agent and using this app, they're comfortable. They know that you're a good agent. You've been in it for a while. You know what you're talking about. That way, when you want them to come and look at a house and go, I think this is it, and they go out and they go, yeah, perfect. All they have to do is sign. And they don't even have to do that in person. We can do that through the internet now, right? With DocuSign, right? One can be in their office downtown, the other one can be at the cottage. And we've just got to email the paperwork to everybody, and they electronically sign it, and we get the deal done. So it's all about convenience, but in saying, convenience is great, and in saying that it is fantastic, but at the same time, you got to have knowledge to go with the convenience.
Yeah.
Because if you don't and your agent doesn't, you could end up in some big, big trouble.
Yeah. And I think that with technology, time savings, convenience, efficiency, that should actually leave a lot more room for due diligence and research and going deep on a property to make sure it is the right one for them.
Yeah. And with, with the convenience of this app, another great thing about the app is that I mentioned earlier, I've given it to people who were using other apps, and now they're using this one. They love this app, and they have the ability to send it to other people. Right. And I don't even have to get on the phone and call these people to let them know how it works. And it's a pretty easy app if you just go in and fool around with it for 10, 15 minutes. But they educate them for me. So they get on the app, they go through it, they know how it works. So when they send it to their brother or their aunt, their cousin, their neighbor, they can just tell them, here's how this works, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. So I've had people coming on to the app who I don't know who they are.
Wow.
Because somebody's passed it along to somebody else.
Wow.
So I go on there and I send them a quick email or a text. Welcome aboard. If there's any problems, if they need a hand with anything, any questions about the app, just feel free to reach out to me. And then hopefully they get back to me so then I can find out who the connection is, like where they came from. Right. So it just kind of populates by itself. Right? You send it out to a couple of people, they start sending it out, then they start sending it out, and before you know, you got a couple thousand people on there, which is fantastic.
See, this is great because one of the things that comes with modern day technology is this concept of network effects, which is just like the old bubble gum or shampoo commercial where you tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends and so on and so on. And I love that you're actually experiencing it at work. Like, one thing I don't know if anybody knows, that right beside your office is the amazing breakfast place.
That's smart.
where they know you by first name and gave me a deal because I know you, which was great.
Seniors discount.
No, I think it was the best customer discount. But you mentioned that you just happened to be in one day and overheard a couple talking and then gave them the app. How can you tell me about that?
I was sitting eating breakfast and they were 2 tables away from me. And I heard the husband talking about, selling the house. They looked like they were probably in their mid-50s. So I guess they were getting close to retirement. So when I finished up, I just stopped at their table and I gave them my card. I introduced myself and I apologized for bothering them while they were eating. I said, but I just heard, you talking about real estate and I know you're not selling right now. But I'll give you my card if I can. And on the back, there's a QR code and it's an app. It's a real estate app. And I said, this app is fantastic. It'll be the best one that you'll ever find. And so he was very receptive and he took it. And within a couple of days, he came on to the app.
You got a new client alert?
As I saw, I showed you earlier, he's probably been on the app now 100, 125 times.
That's amazing.
So that's his go-to app now for real estate. Right. And it's only been what, a month or so.
Right.
So he's on there regularly.
And this is great because he is not being spammed or interrupted or anything. He's actually, all him and information is
Yes.
private and he's only
Yes.
connected to you. You can just
Yes.
see if he was active so that if he reaches out, you're able to know and understand how to help him.
Yeah.
And it's
So
a great relationship.
now with, because I mentioned to you earlier that I don't like, and I don't spam people.
Yeah.
I don't like bothering people. So what I am doing now is when I go door knocking, I put a flyer together with information and I put the app on there.
Yeah.
And I explain to them what it is, what it can do. And it's a convenience for them because it goes on your phone. You don't even have to be sitting in front of the laptop or the computer at home. It's on their phone and it's quick. So I go door knocking, I explain to them what it is. I give them the information to, if there's a house that's just sold or just listed or whatever it's going to be. And then I push the app because at that point, if I can get them to go on there and have a look at it and just, for half an hour, play around with it and get a gist for it, they're going to stay there because it's at their fingertips now. And so that saves me having to send out flyers every month.
It saves them having to find your flyer when they want to contact you.
Exactly. They don't have to throw anything in the garbage anymore.
Yep.
They just go onto the app and again, reverse marketing. They're coming back and seeing me and I'm the guy sending them all the information.
Yeah.
So that's the really, really good thing about the app also. You can give it to everybody. And if they choose to use it, great. If not, so be it.
Yeah.
But once you do get people on it and they're using it and they see how good it is, they start to send it to other people. So it just starts to grow and grow and grow. And then that saves me from knocking on so many more doors or calling so many more people.
Well, and then we get to make sure that more people are able to discover you than you could even have reached previously. Because now, in a dynamic way, the clients who already have you, know you, love you, are able to share you. Because I find when people have a great realtor, they're happy to do that. It's just they don't walk around with 10 business cards in their pocket, but now with the listed, they can.
Yeah. And so another bonus to this is that, back in the day, you'd give somebody your business card. It'd just be your business card, just have your name on it.
Yeah.
Right? Your contact info, maybe your face, and your location of, your 12 outlets or wherever it was. Now you're actually giving them more information, a lot more information, because they've got that barcode. They've just got to scan that and away they go. They get all of that information out of one business card or one flyer. So it's a big bonus that way. And keeping up with technology also, right?
Yeah.
If people are techie people, the further we go along, the more techie things become.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for the day when you can put your glasses on and be driving and just touching your glasses and seeing listings up in the corner so you can see the listings while you're driving.
Oh, gosh, we tested that the other day. You can actually be driving through a neighborhood and on your visual screen, nearby listings will pop up.
Yeah, so you barcode it, and if you have those glasses on, it just comes across the top of you, so your eyeballs can actually see it.
Yeah.
So I'm old, but I got some good techie ideas.
Yeah, I know, I love it. Well, okay, so speaking of that, you brought up, and I think people don't realize this, is that the MLS was literally in a book of pages and would get printed and sent to the various offices.
Yeah.
And then you had the best realtor. If your realtor was going to get up at the crack of dawn and get first to the office to take the book and see the new listings.
Yeah. So it was like delivering the phone book.
Yeah.
And they were as thick as a phone book. They were heavy.
It's unbelievable.
It has really changed. Technology is just unbelievable from when I started.
Yes. And I think what people and some agents still don't understand is that all the listings don't come from one place. There's not one MLS. There's in North America,
there's quite a few different boards.
Over 500 MLSs.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is that if you're getting the information from your realtor direct from the MLS, you actually might be missing some of the listings, which is why we're actually a premier solution for MLSs.
Right.
To be technology partners with listed so that their members can have all their own listings and be connected to listings of all the other MLSs in one place.
Exactly.
So your clients get all of them.
As a real estate agent, I've talked to a few agents, and I had mentioned earlier in our conversation that I showed this app to one agent, when I first got it a few months ago.
Yeah.
And he was kind of, it's just some more technology, right? He really didn't look into it to see how it worked, what he could do with it, all the information that was in there, and how quick it is. And I think with most of the agents, especially on the Toronto board or on the Ontario board, they all think they have a better way of doing real estate. And if there's any agents out there who are, and I know there's 50,000, 65, 70,000 that are kind of hurting.
Yeah.
They need to get deals.
Yeah.
This is something that you need to get, because anybody can go in and get House Sigma, right, as part of the public. But for them to be able to take the listed app that has your personalized face on there and your information and all that stuff, so every time they open it up, they see you, right? And they see what can be done on there and how much can be absorbed out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know why every agent in North America doesn't have this app, because it's just, it's so convenient. It's so easy. It's a great marketing tool.
Yeah.
And you can take it and you can put it on, like we said earlier, on your signs, your business cards, any paper that you're sending out, a monthly flyer. You can put it on your website. You can send it out if you're doing some kind of Facebook ad.
Yep.
You can send out a house to draw and then have your barcode there in the app and the information. It just makes it so much easier. And, when people are sitting on the GO train and they're waiting to go downtown, they don't have newspapers anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So what do? They get on their phone.
Yeah.
So if they're getting on their phone, people in general now, most people, they want to look at real estate.
They do.
Right? They want to know what houses are selling for. So what's great, they get onto the GO train, and for 45 minutes to an hour, they're on your app. They're seeing your face those many times, and they're just flipping through different listings.
Exactly.
Right? And in real estate, it's all about hits, right? How many eyeballs can you get on you, right? Because the more eyeballs you get on you, the better a chance you're going to get somebody to call you and say, hey, I need an agent, right?
Yeah.
So you don't even have to send out all your flyers. You don't have to send out all that advertising. You give them that app, and all of these people are on the app every day looking at you. Their eyeballs are going to be on you. And then when they pass it on to the person on the GO train sitting next to them, because they see what you're looking at, they go, hey, what app is that? They'll send it to them. Yeah. Right? And like I said earlier, before you know it just multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to go door knocking. You don't have to phone people. You don't have to events and all this stuff. It's so easy, time consuming. It's cheap. And I think probably it's the best way to advertise.
Amazing.
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt.
Oh my gosh. Well, there's so much richness there. I love that you said that it's not expensive, because just so you know, what sets you apart already is that to you it's not expensive. Yeah. You don't know how many other realtors won't get it because they do have to actually pay for a premium version, and they won't. Yeah. And that should be a signal to consumers, if an agent isn't willing to pay for game-changing technology that's going to help them. So I just love that. And the other thing that I love is that you're promoting the app as if we just made it for the betterment of realtors. The funny thing is, we actually made it for consumers. Right. Because I realized when I was walking down the street one day, I couldn't find out how much this house was. Yeah. I couldn't get help. I didn't have a realtor. I wouldn't have known which realtor to use. So I wanted a technology that was going to give me instant information at the tap of a button and a great realtor, my realtor, at the tap of a button as well when I wanted to know about it. So because excellent realtors who both see the value of technology, have been in the business a long time, a lot of people say to me, oh, is it all the young new people in real estate getting the app? And I actually found that the average age of the great realtors that immediately adopted listed when it came out were actually in that far past, like 65 and older range.
Yeah.
And I really wondered at this, but it's because at this point.
So now you can show them this video of me at 86 years old doing this technology.
Really, I think there's just, what you said earlier, which is the whole reason you want this is because no matter how great you are or aren't, if you're not found, you don't exist.
Exactly.
This helps you be found.
Yeah.
And then having those 20, 30 plus years of experience working by repeat and referral, the fancy network effects where people share it is simply repeat and referral business working more easily.
So here's the great thing about the app and repeat business.
Okay.
Is everybody now pushes the CRM.
Yeah.
You got to have a CRM. You got to use your database. You got to. With this app, you don't even have to have a database.
You don't.
You
it
just
really
get
is
them all
one.
on this app, and that's your database.
And
they're all on there all the time. So you don't have to send out that monthly newsletter, right? Unless you want to tell them something specific or send something out and say, hey, Merry Christmas or Happy Easter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's your database right there. If you get everybody out of your database, if you take 200 people out of your database and you put them on this app, you're in very, very good shape. Because the reason behind the database is to stay in contact with them, but also to get them to tell other people about you, the realtor, so you can do more business.
Yeah.
With this app, it's much quicker. They just send it to them, the link to them. They go on, and boom, right away they're on there, and they love it. And the number one thing that my clients like, and the people who are on my app like, is, and they still don't get it, is on most apps, if you see a property, you got to go in and search for the property on the app to find it. Right. On your app with that little arrow at the top right,
the location arrow,
arrow, it blows them away that they can just be 3 hours away from home and just touch that arrow, and that house that they're standing in front of comes right up. It's right there. And all of the other listings in the area, all the solds in the area, everything that they want to know about that area. And that just, it just kind of freaks them out a bit. They go, how does this do this so quick?
Yeah, right? And so accurate.
And so this is the difference between Listed and the other apps. You don't have to do any searching on Listed unless you want to. Like I said earlier, I got somebody on there who's looking in Calgary. Yeah. So you go on the map search, you go to Calgary area, and you search through that way, which is great. You get all the information, the same thing out there that you're getting here. But some people who are out driving around, and majority of people nowadays, they're nosy about real estate.
Yeah.
They want to know. So if they're out anywhere, or they're up a cottage country and they see something for sale, like a cottage,
they can find out.
They just touch that arrow. And boom, it's right there in front of you.
And if they do want to know more about it, like they're thinking of buying a cottage, and they just tap contact agent and press send.
Right.
It comes to you. You know what it is.
Yeah.
You can be on it.
Yep. You set them up in the search area and have the stuff coming to them. Yeah, and it's that easy.
How did this Calgary search come about? You have clients who are living here and they're moving?
They're near retirement, and they live in Pickering right now.
Yeah.
They were thinking maybe to move out to Calgary.
Yeah.
Because at times it's cheaper.
Yeah.
They live out there. So they were just looking at, because her parents are looking now to sell their house, and they're actually looking to move in together, multi-generational house. And they were thinking about leaving Toronto because it's so expensive and just going out to Calgary and buying something out there. So she just got on the app, and she was the one I didn't even know. She said, oh, Shawn, she says, I was on your app and I saw houses in Calgary. I go, oh, okay, that's great. I said, I didn't know. I said, I guess it's right across Canada.
It's across Canada.
So she was the one that told me, right?
Yeah.
She said, it's fantastic. She says, I was in there looking at all these different places in Calgary. So now she's on there quite a bit, because she's looking Toronto area and Durham area, and she's looking Calgary area.
Right, of course.
So she's got a lot to look at. Yeah.
Well, stay with us, because it's our dream that you could be anywhere in the world, tap the location button and find the property
this is what I need, because I've told people for the last 10 years that I need to find somebody, an Asian agent, or just an Asian friend, because I would like to tap into that market, because so many people are coming from Asia, all of Asia. If I could get some kind of advertising over there, so that when they are ready to come over here, they've already got the house that they're looking for. Now, if I could give them this app, they'd be in heaven.
No, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And to that note, you know, when your client is ready, should they choose Calgary or should they choose Shanghai, someone coming from somewhere else to here? I think the thing that is different than the other apps that you kind of alluded to earlier is not only are you now the agent on the app for your clients, but your clients are connected to you, but you're connected to all the other agents.
That's right.
So you're able to do referral work and work together collaboratively to help your clients.
Yeah, exactly. But there's so many people moving to Canada. If this could be a worldwide app, and if I could find just one person in each different country that I want to try and get some people over here and help them, I would send the app right away, and then they could start sending it to all their friends and relatives, co-workers, and whatever, and then start doing more business that way. So it would be huge, a huge plus. Yeah.
Well, it's great you're in the expert network and you're already part of this. So that's awesome. Yeah. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you is you have a current listing nearby and you have an open house, and you were there the other day with your colleague. Yeah. You know, there's that idea in real estate, list to live. And it's partly because if you're a listing agent, you know, you've got your sign in the lawn, and presumably then people drive by and see your picture and they see the sign and they think that you're the predominant person in the neighborhood. Yeah. One of the things I've always tried to explain to agents about how powerful this is previously the listing sign was important because you would see that, you would call the number, it would be there.
Yes.
But with listed, now if they have your app, whether they go to your open house later today, or they then go and drive around, maybe unlisted, they search by show open houses only, and they drive around every listing sign they see and house they come to, they tap the blue button, and it pops up, and it's with you.
And it's with me,
It's the power of the listing in your hands as a cooperating agent representing your clients. So everyone's in the right lane. Your clients get you. You get the listing agent. The sellers get their own listing agent. And real estate works with everyone properly represented.
I'll tell you a quick, really great story.
Okay.
I went in to see my dentist 2 weeks ago, and I haven't been in there for about a year. Okay. And the girl who works behind the counter, Allie, she said, I was talking to the dentist, is a friend of mine.
Yeah.
So we talk about personal things and stuff like that. And Allie heard us and she goes, I didn't know you were a real estate agent. Wow. I said, yeah. I said, that's 25 years now. She goes, oh, she says, I want to sell my house, and there's a house right across the street that I want to buy. Right? Because she wants to downsize. She's just divorced, and her house is way too big.
Yeah.
So I said to her, I said, oh, here, I said, instead of me giving you my card and stuff, I said, just take this app on your phone. I said, go in there, sign up. I said, you won't get spammed. That doesn't cost you anything. And I said, just go in and have a look at it and see what you think. And now she's on there all the time also. Wow. Because now she's got all that information. And in that situation, I kind of look like a hero. It's like, wow, I can see all these houses. I can see what they sold for.
Yeah.
I can see what they're listed for. I can see how long they've been on the market.
Yeah.
I can see how many times before they've been sold and when. All the information, it's right there. And she loves it. She thinks it's great. So now every time I go in there, she says, oh, Shawn, how are you? It's good to see you. And we talk about real estate all the time now.
That is so great. You know, okay, so just for that client love, I think one of the things that people don't realize is that how they get the information and the motivation behind it is really important. These other apps are often lead generating tools for realtors that can't get business. And so the idea is, as a consumer, you get on this app and then the commission split 50-50 with the brokerage and the agent. And so we were always, as a company listed, looking at how we could remove money from the equation and just say, how can we help a consumer get connected to a great agent? And we take no monetary part in it. Our whole business model is great agents pay a reasonable fee for the app, and then they excel or not according to their own work ethic and benefit and everything else. And so that really protects the consumer, because now the motivation of being on it is simply for you to get a great agent. Like when you brought up the CRM, in a traditional CRM, it's like, oh, your 32.8 point touch system of, sending stuff out. Whereas on listed, it's like you said, a reverse demand.
That's right.
Whatever the client's interested in, and when they're interested in it, comes to you. And now you serve it up to them right away. So you're not doing useless work.
So your basic CRM model is you need so many touches every year.
Exactly.
You got to send them so many things every year. And I showed you on my phone Joe earlier, who just from EggSmart, with the standard for the industry, we'll say you need 80 touches a year. You got to send out a flyer, or you got to send out something over the internet, or just only that. With Joe alone, I think I'm probably going to get 2,000 touches a year, and that'll be from him coming to me because he's always on there. And he's always
sharing
looking.
it.
Exactly, right? So that's the real unique thing about this app, is that it's very easy to use. It's quick and convenient. Plus, it's also the reverse marketing. And again, with the CRM, you don't have to go chasing them. They're going to be coming to you. Once they're on that app, they're staying on that app because they love it. And once they're on there and they're looking, they see your ugly face all the time, and there you go.
It's easy to reach you.
It's great.
Now, the other thing is, especially with low inventory in a tight market, you do not want to be unable to give your clients access to all the listings. And in the news in the last year and a half, there's been a lot of discussion about off-market properties because they changed the law. So one of the things we did when we started our company was we made sure that everything we do is in coordination with the real estate standards for data, accuracy, consistency, and legality. So it took us probably a year and a half to develop this exclusive and coming soon listing network. And then all of a sudden, the law changed and the realtor cooperation policy came into effect. And where a lot of companies who might have been developing something were up in arms about, you're taking the rights away from sellers and stuff, we thought, no, I really love the spirit of the law, that they just, the lawmakers just wanted to make sure that sellers and buyers, back to your point, were getting legitimate representation and not the one rotten apple who was going to try and double-end a deal. Because there's a lot of legitimate reasons why you might need an exclusive. For example, if your sellers can't have people through the property, they don't realize that to be on the MLS, it has to be shown. So we've now, it took us about 8 months, made this beautiful exclusive and coming soon network that's legally compliant with the realtor cooperation policy. So you were saying how you loved AI earlier, and we've got this reverse demand AI search. So what's very cool is now you've got all the listing inventory, plus it's the only place where you have access to any and all off-market inventory in a way that is legally compliant, baked into the structure. So as an agent, you can't even make a mistake. Your exclusive listing comes out. A consumer never sees it.
That's right.
But you can share it with each other and get matched interest.
That's right. And that's key. I've never understood the exclusive listing. And I understand why people want to do that, because they want a cut on their commission. They want a cheaper rate. Right? And always when you go cheaper, something's going to go wrong, and you're going to end up paying for something somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost you more. But with the exclusive, you're not getting any coverage. If you're on MLS and you're getting 1 million people looking at the house on MLS.
Exactly.
If you're exclusive, you might have 10, 20, right? So you're not getting all of the people you need to have, because let's face it, in this day and age, a lot of houses are sold in multiple offers.
Exactly.
So if you've got one offer coming in as opposed to having 15 or 20, you're not in a win situation there.
You're going to sell it for less.
The money that you're saving on your commission, you're losing on the price of your house. You could be getting more in the multiple offer situation.
For sure.
And again, with the exclusive, and like we just mentioned earlier there, is that this app is right across Canada, and hopefully it'll be right around the world one day.
Yeah.
Right? So if your house is on an app that's all around the world, and you know there's a lot of people moving to this country, why would you not just spend a few extra bucks in commission and get a lot more for your house?
Exactly.
Because you've got that many more people looking at it, that much more interest, and chances are your price is going to be that much higher.
Exactly. The whole reason we made, oddly enough, and as ironic as it sounds, the exclusive and coming soon network is because we believe all properties should go to MLS.
Yeah.
It's like you said, you know, if you've got 10 offers for a property, you're going to have a lot more likelihood of selling it for more than if you've got one.
Yeah.
Right? And exposure is what does that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more eyeballs, the better you are.
Exactly.
And always, and it's not just in real estate, in anything you do in life, if you try to cheap out on anything, chances are later on it's going to come back to bite you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's got to be quality.
Karma. Yeah. It's got to be quality instead of quantity, and the cheapest way to do it, and it'll come back and get you.
Yeah. Now, the funny thing is, because the government stepped in and changed the law, they actually made one thing a lot better, which is that, you know, when you fully intend your property to go to MLS, there's a big difference between coming soon to MLS and exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive is never intended to go to the MLS.
That's right.
But coming soon means we're preparing it.
We're getting it ready to go on the market on MLS. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Yep.
So what's beautiful is now your sellers can have the best of all worlds, which is go to MLS to get the exposure, but when it's coming soon, you can pre-list it on listed so that the other agents have a little early in.
That's right. They got the early in.
And 3 days before it hits the MLS, it says coming soon to MLS with a gold banner.
Yep.
So you've got lift for your listing, for your seller, to all the contextually relevant buyers out there.
And another thing and I'll touch on that a little further, is that people don't understand when they sign a contract to list their house.
Yeah.
It's still their house. They get the last say.
Yeah.
They could just tell the agent, you know what, we signed that contract yesterday, but we talked it over and we don't want to move.
We're changing our mind.
Let's rip up the contract. And if the agent says no, that's a bad thing to do, is to annoy somebody. But then what you can do is you can just say to the agent, you know what, rip it up. Let's get rid of that. We're not moving. But then what you can do also is, when you get into that situation, is that if you have the listed app, then, you know, with the MLS is great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, we love the MLS.
But with this app here and everything that's coming out, and the coming soons and the exclusives and all that stuff, when that stuff comes out a little sooner, you might get people who are willing to understand that they want to maybe try and buy that house before it gets on the market. So they may be willing to pay a little more. That way you can go to the seller and go, hey, or the seller's agent, go, hey, listen, I got somebody here who really wants this property. Can we just at least, you know, give you an offer and see what you think? And then the agent, or the agent might go to their seller and say, hey, you know what, these guys have a really good offer. Why don't we look at this? And if it's good enough, they're going to go, yeah, you know what, we're not going to go to market. We're going to take this. We're happy with this. And they rip up the contract and the house is sold. So they get it done a lot quicker. So you got the coming soon, you're getting the house ready, then it goes on the market, and then you're holding off on offers. And then if it doesn't sell at that price, you're on there for a few weeks, a few months, whatever it's going to be. So
exactly.
if you're sending information ahead of time, there's that chance that somebody's going to see it and go, hey, we got to get to this property. That's the street that we want to be on. That's the school area we want to be in.
Yeah.
We'll pay a little more for that house.
Yeah.
We know, because we're on the listed app, what things are going for in that neighborhood. So we're willing to pay the price for that. And it gets them out there ahead of time.
It does. And in that case, you could actually do better as the seller than getting that exposure.
Yes.
Right? Exactly. Because they're hedging against exposure. They're like, we'd rather get it and pay what we think it is worth, if you're willing to accept that, than be against 5 other offers.
And then you only have one couple coming in looking at your house, as opposed to having 100 people coming through your house, right?
Yeah.
So it's a big difference.
I think just one of the keys I want to really reiterate here is that one of the things we saw is that, there's like FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, like all these companies that really are a huge threat to many different industries.
Yeah.
And real estate is different and special because it's run by a trade association. Yeah. And we're in a lot of hot water for various reasons now that we don't need to go into, with lawsuits and everything else. And I think one of the things when I was on the street that day and saw that I needed to solve the consumer problem, what I didn't know then, but I now know, is that I actually think the MLSs need a solution. They're not able to make one MLS.
Right.
But with listed, there is already one MLS.
That's right.
All the MLSs.
Everything. Yeah.
It's because you know how in your MLS, there's a thing called the technology of the MLS, which is compensation and cooperation, meaning that you and people from other brokerages share listings to bring your clients the most inventory.
Yeah.
But, and I mentioned this when I was at Inman talking on stage with the portal antidote, which is that the technology of the MLS, cooperation and compensation, isn't happening at the level of the MLS.
Right.
So unlisted, you bring all the MLSs together, you have all the inventory through all the agents can connect.
There.
Yeah. And we could have competitors, let another listed come and be that. Then we would have competition. We can keep trying to be better.
Right.
But we cannot lose the MLS because it's our greatest technology, because it keeps, for the most part, data accurate and reliable.
Yeah.
So we never want to replace the MLS. We want to be the solution for its seamless distribution.
Yes.
To help the agent on the ground and their client.
You want to expand it more and provide quick, easy information that's accurate. And it is the MLS.
Yeah.
But it's just extended out further and easier to get to, right? It's easier access for that.
It's just helping them provide what they haven't been able so far to provide for themselves. Yes. Because let's face it, people don't realize the people who are leaders in the trade associations are often active on the ground trading realtors who meet maybe 12 times a year.
Yep.
Technology may not be their specialty. They're trying to make decisions about technology.
Yes.
And then realtors wonder why their own MLSs don't have the best technology, or why there isn't a single MLS. And it's because until somebody comes and makes something, not for the love of money, but for the love of making a quality product. So your motivation matters.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And basically that's what we're here for, is to help the consumer. Yeah. We want to make it easier for them, right? We want to make it a quicker process. We don't want to get them into any situations or ourselves into situations where we're liable for something.
Exactly.
And we end up going to court over something. We just want them to be able to get what they need to make an informed decision and get it done as quick as possible. Yeah. And legally be okay. Yeah. That's all it is.
Exactly. I realized that consumers, for their best interest, need to be supported by organized real estate.
Yes.
And so that is them having an agent like yourself where they can buy, sell, lease, trade real estate.
You know what's funny? I've met quite a few people, and I've met people in all different occupations, like doctors and lawyers and CEOs and all these, high priced people with all these big titles and everything. And it baffles me because all these people have gone to school for years to get into the position that they're in. And then when it comes to something as simple as selling their house, they have no clue.
I know, it's amazing. It's a complicated process. You do need a professional.
They just don't, they wouldn't know where to start, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Most of them don't know where to start.
Yeah. It comes down to, like, when we were talking, every single day, 7 days a week, you are out seeing properties and meeting people.
Yeah.
And it just comes down to being an expert. And that's actually why when you've shared the app with people and they're on it all the time, you become a mini expert for a period of time.
Yeah.
Because you're
and
following
the app
the
is good because they can, ahead of going out and looking at properties, they're going to be asking questions before we even get out there.
Yeah.
So they're getting more information. They're asking the question. I'm answering it. So by the time we get out and start looking around for houses, they're very, very comfortable. They're educated, and they feel they've learned a lot in regards to the buying and selling process in houses and what's involved in doing the offers and getting it sold.
Yeah.
So it's a lot better for them to, even before we get out there looking, that they get all the information, so that instead of going out and putting the cart before the horse, buying the house, and then all of a sudden having all these questions. Yeah. Oh yeah, we were going to ask you about this. Well,
yeah.
It's a little late for that now, right?
Yeah.
You've bought the house.
Yeah.
So it's great that way, that they can go on and get all the information. Any questions that they have, they can just send me a text or call me or email or whatever, and then I can inform them.
Yeah.
And even through the app, I can send them messages and say, okay, I know you're interested in this house. Here's what we need to look out for with this house. Here's what we want to find out. And then that way, again, I don't have to take them to the house and go through it. I don't have to be at their house. They don't have to come to the office.
Yeah.
I can just send them a text and say, here's what we need to look out for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And it's done.
Yep.
It's quick.
Okay, now there's two last things. One is I want to ask you about the clients you had where they just kept sharing it with one person and the next from
Yes.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, and then I want to bring up the transparency of offers. So I'll bring that up next.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Tell me about that.
So I had this one kid that I coached in hockey here in Whitby years ago. And he's, I guess Johnny now is about 26, 27 years old.
Yeah.
And I got to know his mom and dad really well, and his grandparents actually really well, because they came to the rink all the time. So anyway, with the grandparents, they're getting up there in age. They're going to be selling their house, and they're going to be going into a condo.
Yeah.
And downsizing, obviously, because they're getting too old for the house. And so what I did was I had gone to them when I got the app, and I hadn't talked to them for a while.
Yeah.
So it's great when you can go knock on the door and not just show up and say, hey, hi, right? Like, what's new? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then, okay, see you later. So I had this information. I had this app. So I went in and I gave it to the grandfather.
Yeah.
And he put it on his phone right away.
Yeah.
And then he sent it to his wife, right? Because I wanted him to see how to send it.
Yeah.
I wanted her to see how you can send it from person to person.
Great.
So then she was on it, and now she's on it quite a bit also. And then so she had taken it and sent it to her daughter.
Yeah.
So Valerie's on it now quite a bit because her daughter is just gotten married and they're going to be buying a house soon.
Yeah.
So she sent the app to her daughter. So now when I look at it, I can see Val and Taylor looking at the same places.
Yeah.
Because I know the mom is looking at these places and go, hey, check out this house here.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes later, Taylor's name will pop up.
Yeah.
And she's looking at the same house.
Yeah.
Right. And then what Taylor had done is that she sent it over to her brother, Johnny.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was talking to John and whatnot. And so he's on it now also. So we got the whole family on there now.
Yeah.
And you know, when I tell them about it, I always tell them, you can share this with anybody.
I love that.
You can text it to them. You can email it to them. They can take a picture of your phone, whatever you want to do. I said it's that easy to do.
Amazing.
That. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a fantastic conversation with you. I want to wrap up with one thing, because one thing that stood out for me in all my discussions with you is your complete belief and desire that if it wasn't for your clients, organized real estate wouldn't exist, right? We're here for the consumer.
Yes,
or there's no point.
Yeah.
And so you put them first, and I love that. And so you're always looking at, how do we put them first? Yeah. What does matter most to them?
Yeah.
And you very early on recognized that was giving them all the information they wanted and needed to make an elevated conversation and discussion.
Right. Yeah.
So one of the cool things that's come up is various offer management companies have started popping up and started suggesting maybe you could actually just make an offer on a property.
Yes.
And I'm talking to the CEO next week of one of these offer management companies. They're very interesting. We've looked at a number of them, but this one in particular is great because both the seller and the buyer have the ability to accept or send in an offer on a property.
Yes.
So it's always up to the seller because they're selling the house.
Yeah.
But connected to their listed QR code, like say on your property, if the listed QR code is up there.
Yes.
And someone taps the button, sees the property.
Yep.
If your seller had wanted to engage in the invitation of an offer, the person just has to tap it, see if there's any other offers, make an offer if they want, and that person's connected to their own agent as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this idea of open offers? And
I think it's a great idea. For a number of different reasons. First of all, when you get into this situation, when you get into multiple offer situation, and you've got 15 people bidding on a house, that's probably going to take about 4 hours, 5 hours to do that process. And emotions are running very, very high. And I remember back in the day when we used to take the clients with the offer to the house and sit out front of the house, and then the agent would go in one by one and sit down with their offer for their clients and try and talk the people into taking their offer. It's a high pressure situation. And what I noticed back then is you go from 15 people down to 3 people.
Yeah.
And when you get down to 3 people and they're all sitting in the car, right? And they're looking at each other, they're not even looking at the house. And they're saying, you know what, you're not getting my house. You're not beating us. And it's not even about the house anymore. You're not beating us.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And they start bidding ridiculous prices. And because it's such a high pressure situation, you really don't think straight. You're in a very, very short time frame, and it all happens so fast.
Yeah.
And then when you do get the house, you're in it for a month and you're going, oh, what do we do here?
There can be
Why
remorse.
did we spend 100, 150 grand more than what we should have, right? And with this type of offer situation, it's on the board. It's going to be up there for a while.
Yep.
So you can put an offer in.
Yeah.
It can be on the board. Other people can go in if they're interested. They can see what the bid is.
Yep.
They can put their bid in if they want to go higher, or not even put a bid in. And for somebody who's got a bid in there, they may think about it for a week or so and go, you know what, let's pull the bid.
Yep.
Because we've seen another house and we want to go that way instead of this way. But it's great also that everybody can see the bids and who's bidding how much, because the way that it's done right now with the blind bid, some people, and let's face it, people can't even afford to buy a house these days. And we're getting them into bidding situations where they don't know what the other people are bidding. So they're bidding 50, 100 grand, 150 grand over asking, or over the next guy behind them, where they could bid another 20 grand and get the house, right? So they're tacking on another 100 and so thousand onto the mortgage, and which, down the road in 3 to 5 years when it comes time to renew, they're not going to be able to do it. So it's better that way, that everybody sees what everybody's bidding. So somebody might say $1 million, and I might go in at $1 million, $1,001, and get the house. So I've only had to go over $1 to get the house instead of going over 100 grand or 200 grand. So it's better that way.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of people when they're caught in the bidding scenario of blind bidding, that sometimes, unfortunately, even their agent, if they are pre-qualified for, say, $1 million, but the bank says the price of the house is only worth $850.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you're qualified for.
That's right.
You're going to have to come up with the extra couple $100,000. Yeah,
exactly.
And they don't realize that, and then it falls through, but they put in a firm offer. So there's just so many reasons it's dangerous. And the thing to remember is that it's just a tool for the seller. It's an option.
Yeah.
The seller could choose not to have an open bid, or it could choose to have a semi-open bid.
Yeah.
You could be, how much are the bids plus certain conditions, like when's the closing, is it firm? And there are different situations where it might be better. Like if it's a slower market, it could generate interest in a higher bid. And if it's really fast market, you might not want to do it. But at least you're having, like you said, this acting as a guide, giving your clients the choice. And ultimately, they feel armed and prepared to make the right choice for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the way that we do it now is if you get into multiple offers, it's almost like a game show.
Yeah.
And the emotions are going high and people aren't thinking straight. And your real estate agent is coaching you and cheering you on and going, come on, right? 25 more grand, right? We can get this.
Yeah. It's like a cup of coffee in the life of your mortgage.
It gets crazy. It gets absolutely crazy. And another big plus for this type of bidding and selling a house is if the market is slow, the seller is always wondering why his house hasn't sold or her house hasn't sold. And with this system, they can see if there's even a low bid, right? And then they get the information firsthand that, oh, okay, so we're at $1 million and they're going to offer $750, right? So at least we know somebody has put a bid in or somebody had some interest. Whereas the way we do it right now, when you're selling your house, other than what your agent's telling you, maybe 10 agents have shown the house, and he's saying, well, yeah, there was 3 or 4 that had some interest, but because of this, they didn't like it, or they were going to be a low bid, or this and that. The seller doesn't know that for sure.
Right. There's no real market data on what the market would currently pay for the home.
And again, it's about information.
Yeah.
And if everybody has all the information, then everything is above board on the table.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody knows exactly what direction we're going in. And it makes it much, much easier and much better for the seller and for the buyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better for the consumers, much better.
Amazing. Okay, just on that final note, you've got listed, you're on it, you're getting your clients on it.
Yeah.
What is the benefit you think of listed for your clients?
Oh, there's all kinds of benefits for them. The ease of operation.
Yeah.
Is the main thing. And like I said, the touch arrow, and it brings up all the information right there, and not just to the one house, but all the houses in the area. It also gives them the ability to not have to go in and manually search for a house.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not time consuming.
Yeah.
They have the app on their phone.
Yeah.
Their phone's always with them.
Yeah.
They can, if somebody asks them about a price of a house or something somewhere, they can just go on their phone and go, boom, there it is. Right?
So they're experts now.
There's the whole listing. So now they're the experts, right? They're the hero. And all the information that is actually given on that app is more information that you're going to get on any other app, without a doubt.
I love it. And then for agents, is it worth what it costs, and is the value there for listed?
Definitely, because I've told you before that I get every day I get emails and I get texts about people wanting to sell me some technology, and I'm gonna sell 300 houses next year if they use this, or all this stuff, and you get it all the time, and it's very expensive. And the one thing that people don't realize in real estate is that advertising or lead generating is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So with the app, it just completely changes all of that. And if you're upset about having to spend some money, but you want to make sure you spend your money in the right spot, this is the spot. Because I've seen a lot of the other technology. I've gone through and paid for other technology, which has been absolutely garbage, and I see this, and the price on this it's not expensive. Yeah. And the gentleman that the other agent in the office that I showed yesterday, even he did the calculation. He goes, oh, that's only so much a month.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? So even he got it. So
beautiful.
I know that there's a lot of cheap agents out there. They just want to make money. They don't want to spend money, but you need to spend money to make money. And here you're not spending a lot. What you're going to get in return is it's going to be incredible. It's more than tenfold, and it's a lot easier. I pay this much money, I give this to them, and that's it. It starts coming back to me. Whereas if I'm paying somebody for lead gen, I'm paying them too much money. The leads that I'm getting are garbage, right? They're going to other agents also, and it's terrible. I got to work them all the time. It's just so easy with this app. And you know, again, if you want to spend money in a smartly and put it in the place where it should be in order to help your business, this is the place.
Thank you, Shawn. I'm so happy to hear that. That makes everything. Our team is going to love that. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone.
No problem. Enjoyed being here.
Great. Thank you. If anybody wants to just tap the link below, they can check out Listed. They can get it with you, especially if they're curious about Whitby. And even if they're not, you can connect them to any of your great colleagues, because you're connected to, over these 25 years, people across Canada who you know. So you cannot go wrong getting the app and being connected to Shawn Greer.
I'm sure when people go on and they take the free version, they'll use it for a bit, the agents, and then they go, okay, we gotta get the upgrade and get the the diamond. Yeah, exactly.
You can't go wrong if you have Shawn Greer as your agent. Shawn, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. It was my pleasure.